The long-awaited paradigm shift in IT management has arrived and is in full swing. Sharepath will ensure that you and your enterprise will not be left in the dark when it comes to the next generation of application performance management tools. Today's applications are a real challenge to keep running at full speed. With thousands of complex business transactions running every second, enterprises cannot afford to underperform when it comes to their applications. Classic application performance management tools that perform numerous measurements of system metrics simply do not have what it takes anymore. Traditional systems management tools that monitor individual components are unable to manage today's ever-evolving applications that span multiple tiers and that are composed of network equipment, web servers, application servers, and database servers. The problems that cutting-edge applications run into require holistic solutions, which are not fulfilled when monitoring individual components. Managing from the business transaction perspective enables you to see your entire system in a flash and pinpoint your problems to the root cause immediately. Sharepath leaves no stone unturned when it comes to business transaction management and provides everything your IT department needs in order to stay in the game. From an eagle's eye view of your entire system, the needle in the haystack can be found with ease. Monitoring every single transaction means that every single one of your customers will be satisfied. With access to all of the metrics of every transaction, you can accurately charge back and perform comprehensive analyses of your system. Sharepath has been specially designed for easy deployment. There is no need for code instrumentation, or even restarting the managed application after installation. Why should you wait weeks or months in order to start solving your problems, when it can be done immediately with Sharepath? Since data is intercepted at the operating system level, Sharepath's architecture is environment independent, which means that whatever your platform, Sharepath is right for you. Sharepath has been specially designed with a production environment in mind, so that performance can be improved where it counts, without having to settle for the overhead that usually accompanies performance management solutions. Now let's take a test flight on Sharepath in order to experience how user-friendly application management can be. John, an analyst at a trading firm, performs a net risk exposure calculation for a stock. For some reason, the calculation is taking much too long. Jane, a member of the trading firm's IT department, receives an alert that a net risk exposure calculation has failed to meet its SLA requirement. Jane simply opens her browser and logs on to the Sharepath server. After logging in, Jane takes a quick look at the system map. The average latency between tiers looks all right. Jane also notices that the amount of transactions happening per second is 14,728, at an average time of 348 milliseconds, so it doesn't look like there are any system-wide problems. The donut graph shows that 83% of transactions are within the SLA threshold. Jane then clicks on the Transaction Watch button in order to get insight on how individual transaction types are doing. The bubble chart shows Jane which kinds of transactions are not meeting SLA requirements. The size of the bubble represents the number of transactions of that type taking place in real time. The transactions that reside in the central green zone are in the clear, while the transactions that are in the red areas are, well, in the red. She sees that one type of transaction is far out of SLA limits. The name of that transaction is displayed: risk analysis, P&L decomposition, a problem that Jane knows is currently being taken care of. Jane sorts the transactions by the average time they took. Risk analysis, net exposure. The transaction that Jane received an alert about seems to be doing fine on average. Therefore, the problem must be the result of a particular transaction of this type. Jane searches for all the transactions of this type that occurred in the time frame she is working in. Looking at the list of transactions that occurred, Jane spots the needle in the haystack. The transaction had a latency of 20 seconds. Now it's time for Jane to perform a root cause analysis. Jane opens the transaction tree. Most of the latency occurred in the data warehouse gateway tier. Jane expands the list of events. A single query is the cause of the problem. Jane views the event details. She immediately sees that 19 megabytes of data were retrieved in this one query. Jane has found the root of the problem and reports her findings to the engineering team. You have just experienced a brief example of how simply Sharepath can solve your transaction management needs. Sharepath can be deployed and implemented in your infrastructure within a matter of hours, whatever your application or environment. Please continue your journey to the next generation of IT management by finding out more on our website about our groundbreaking patent-pending technology. We welcome you to request a live online demo with one of our professionals in order to further explore what Sharepath will do for you. Thank you, and we hope to hear from you shortly.